Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, my outfit looks great, but why do my arms make me feel older than I am? Or maybe you've tried on a beautiful summer dress, raised your arms to check the fit, and suddenly dropped them again, quietly thinking, I'll just add a cardigan. If that sounds familiar, you are far from alone. And the truth is, your arms don't need to be hidden. They just need to be styled smarter. Welcome back to Healthwise for Seniors, the channel that believes women over 60 don't have to dress younger, just wiser. I'm your name, and today we're going to talk about sleeves. Not just fashion choices, but the subtle ways sleeve design can either lift you up or quietly make you feel less confident. The title says it all. Women over 60. Wrinkled hands or veiny arms, never wear these sleeves again. Sounds dramatic? Maybe, but also accurate. Because while many women assume that covering up is always the safest bet, the truth is, not all coverage is created equal. Some sleeve styles actually draw more attention to aging arms. Others create bulk, stiffness, or spotlight areas we'd rather soften. On the flip side, the right sleeve, cut at the right angle, in the right fabric, can completely transform how your arms feel, look, and move. Before we dive into the 5 most common sleeve mistakes and their elegant alternatives, take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend who needs it, and subscribe to Healthwise for Seniors. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful content for After 60, many women find themselves avoiding sleeveless tops, not because they dislike their clothes, but because they've started feeling unsure about their arms. The truth is, our arms are one of the first places to show signs of aging, and it happens quietly, almost without us noticing. The skin on our arms is naturally thinner than other parts of the body. It has fewer oil glands, less fat padding, and is constantly in motion, reaching, lifting, waving, hugging. And while we often protect our face with sunscreen and skincare, our arms are left exposed to sun, time, and gravity. Over the years, that adds up to visible veins, sunspots, loose skin, and fine lines. But here's what most women don't realize. People notice your arms more than you think. Think about it. You raise your glass at brunch, extend your hand to greet a friend, adjust your scarf, or push open a door. Your arms move naturally with you, and they're always in the frame. In conversation, the eye drifts from your face to your neckline and lands right on your arms, especially if you're wearing a short-sleeved or sleeveless blouse. And if the sleeve is cut too high on the arm, too tight, too sheer, or too stiff, it doesn't just expose your arm, it highlights every little thing you might be trying to downplay. I once had a client, Nancy, 67, vibrant and stylish, tell me she stopped wearing her favorite sleeveless dresses. Not because they didn't fit, but because, in her words, my arms just don't match the rest of me anymore. But the answer isn't hiding them. The answer is reframing them. Literally. The right sleeve can soften the lines, redirect the gaze, and bring back that quiet confidence you used to feel when you slipped into something sleeveless. You don't need to cover your arms completely. You just need sleeves that work with your arms, not against them. Because your arms have held children, carried grocery bags, opened doors for strangers, and wrapped around tight sleeves. Tight sleeves may seem like a smart choice, clean lines, neat fit, tailored look. But for women over 60, sleeves that hug the arm too closely often do more harm than good. Why? Because they frame the very things we're trying to soften: thinning skin, visible veins, and loss of muscle tone. The older we get, the more sensitive our skin becomes. The once smooth arms we didn't think twice about in our 30s now show fine lines, sunspots, and gentle creases, especially under artificial lighting or camera flash. A tight sleeve clings to these textures, emphasizing what it should gently skim over. More than that, the tension of a snug sleeve can disrupt the overall balance of your silhouette. It can make the upper body appear stiff, constricted, even heavier, especially when paired with lightweight fabrics or delicate jewelry. In contrast, when the sleeve is slightly looser, it creates a visual softness, allowing the eye to move gracefully rather than get stuck on a tight outline. I had a client, Linda, age 64, who wore a fitted jersey blouse with elbow-length sleeves to her granddaughter's recital. It looked fine in the mirror, she said, but when I saw the photos later, all I noticed were the lines on my arms, and how that sleeve made them look sharper than they are. That's the problem. Tight sleeves draw attention. They act like highlighter pens, tracing every contour. And unlike fitted pants or pencil skirts, which can shape and define, the arms rarely benefit from compression or cling. Instead, aim for sleeves that offer gentle room to breathe, literally and visually. Look for draped fabrics like silk, chiffon, soft knits, or crepe, which float around the arm instead of gripping it. A 3/4 sleeve with a slight taper at the wrist or a flutter sleeve with subtle movement can be infinitely more flattering. These styles allow your arms to exist naturally, not be scrutinized. They create a sense of ease and elegance. And most importantly, they help you feel like yourself, comfortable, confident, and unconcerned with what your arms are supposed to look like. Because truthfully, nobody else is thinking about your arms until the wrong sleeve makes them impossible to ignore. Sleeves that stop at mid-bicep. Sleeves that stop mid-bicep, commonly seen in t-shirts, polos, or casual blouses, can be surprisingly unflattering on mature arms. While they're intended to feel modest or safe, they often have the opposite effect, cutting across the softest, least supported part of the upper arm and unintentionally drawing the eye to that exact point. The mid-bicep area is where the skin tends to lose elasticity first. It's where gentle sagging, creases, and changes in muscle tone are most visible. When a sleeve ends abruptly here, especially with a tight or stiff hem, it can make the arm look heavier or shorter than it really is. Worse, it can create a horizontal line that visually breaks the arm in half, disrupting the flow of your silhouette and pulling attention downward. Think of it like this. When a sleeve ends in the middle of the upper arm, it's like underlining a sentence you didn't mean to highlight. It says, "Look here," even if you didn't want to. I remember one client, Evelyn, she was 68 and petite, who came in wearing a cotton blouse with classic half sleeves. "I like the coverage," she told me. But when we compared it to a blouse with slightly longer flutter sleeves that grazed the elbow, she gasped. "I look slimmer, taller, even a little younger." And she did. That extra few inches of fabric changed everything, not by hiding her arms, but by softening the transition from shoulder to hand. What works better? Sleeves that either extend to just above the elbow or fall in a diagonal cut that elongates rather than slices. Styles like cap sleeves that widen gently across the shoulder or sleeves with angled seams can lengthen the look of the arm and avoid placing attention on the midpoint altogether. Fabric matters too. A structured cotton half sleeve will cut and box in the arm, but a sleeve made of lightweight rayon or jersey that skims the arm without clinging offers movement and grace. The goal isn't to cover or conceal, it's to choose a sleeve that understands your arm's shape, honors its changes, and works with it. That means letting go of standard sleeve lengths that worked at 30 and embracing more fluid, flattering lines that elevate, not segment, your silhouette. Mesh sheer sleeves. Sheer sleeves, whether lace, mesh, or organza, are often chosen with the hope of striking that perfect balance between coverage and elegance. They suggest lightness, femininity, a whisper of skin. But for women over 60, the wrong kind of transparency can backfire, drawing attention to everything we'd rather soften. The problem isn't sheer fabric itself, it's how it's used. When sleeves are made of a single layer of mesh or lace with no lining, no depth, no softness, they create a spotlight effect on the arm. Every vein, freckle, age spot, and wrinkle becomes more pronounced under that gauzy veil. What's meant to be delicate ends up feeling exposed. Lighting only makes it worse. Under harsh sunlight or camera flash, a bare mesh sleeve can act like a magnifying glass, exaggerating texture, especially on thinner, aging skin. I once styled a 70-year-old client named Grace for a garden wedding. She arrived in a silver gray lace dress with unlined sheer sleeves, absolutely lovely in theory. But in photos, her arms appeared almost skeletal. "I thought I was being elegant," she said, "but I looked fragile." What she needed wasn't less coverage, it was softer structure. The best alternative? Double-layered sheer sleeves or sheer sleeves with strategic lining, either partial, just the upper arm, or full, in a tone close to the skin. This creates depth and diffusion, like a soft focus filter. The eye glides over the sleeve, rather than stopping to inspect what's underneath. Another option is embroidered tulle or chiffon with a light pattern, a floral motif, a small dot, or tonal stitching, which breaks up the surface and distracts gently without overwhelming. These sleeves still feel romantic, but with discretion and dignity. Placement matters too. If the shear starts at the shoulder and continues to the wrist, it elongates. But if it starts mid-arm or ends in a hard seam, it chops. Sheerness, when done right, can be your ally. But when used without intention, it becomes a kind of unflattering honesty. What we want is suggestion, not exposure. Movement, not magnification. Beauty that's felt, not forced. Exaggerated flared sleeves. Overly flared sleeves, whether bell-shaped, trumpet-style, or wide ruffle, can seem playful and feminine at first glance. But on mature arms, they often overwhelm the silhouette rather than flatter it. The issue isn't just volume. It's disproportion. When a sleeve flares out dramatically from the elbow or mid-arm, it creates a jarring contrast, drawing attention away from the face and toward the outer edges of the body. For petite women, it can visually shrink the torso. For women with softer arms, it can emphasize width or movement in ways that feel clumsy, not elegant. I remember a client named Maria, 66, who wore a blouse with oversized bell sleeves to a summer dinner party. "I thought it would feel breezy and dramatic," she said, but as soon as she sat down, the fabric pooled around her plate. The sleeves dragged into her soup. In photos, her hands disappeared completely in waves of fabric. "I looked like I was drowning in the blouse," she laughed, and she was right. The sleeves wore her, not the other way around. The key problem with exaggerated flares is that they add bulk where we least need it. They catch wind, wrinkle awkwardly, and collapse in photos, especially in lighter fabrics like linen or chiffon. And when they end at the wrist or lower forearm, they can make the arm look shorter and the entire outfit feel dated. What works better is controlled softness. A sleeve with subtle flutter, gentle taper, or layered ruffles in breathable fabrics. For example, a double-tiered chiffon sleeve that moves slightly when you walk, without adding bulk. A flutter sleeve that grazes just above the elbow, opening diagonally to lengthen the arm. A soft bishop sleeve with light gathering at the cuff, creating vertical flow instead of side-heavy width. Shape matters, but movement matters more. The sleeve should follow the natural rhythm of the arm, not fight it. A well-cut soft flare enhances grace. An oversized one steals attention. And at our age, we don't need drama, we need refinement. Quiet beauty that flows with us. Because elegance doesn't shout, it whispers. Textured sleeveless blouse. Sleeveless tops can be beautiful, liberating, and cool, especially in warmer months. But when the cut is harsh, the armholes are too high or too deep, or the edges lack softness, they can feel more exposing than empowering. The biggest issue with many sleeveless tops for women over 60 isn't the lack of sleeves. It's the lack of intention in the design. A raw armhole, a narrow shoulder strap, or a straight, boxy cut around the arm can all work against us. They highlight the underarm area, which may show loose skin, gentle folds, or a soft tricep curve. Features completely natural with age, but often best treated with grace, not hard lines. I had a client named Brenda, 70, who wore a structured tank dress with thick straps and a high-cut underarm seam. She said, "It's modest, it covers me. But in truth, it frames." Smart styling doesn't mean hiding, it means guiding the eye. When it comes to aging arms, the goal isn't to disappear them, but to dress them in a way that blends them into the overall silhouette with grace. Start with sleeve length and proportion. A 3/4 sleeve that ends just below the elbow creates a visually slimming line, especially when paired with straight-leg trousers or an A-line skirt. This draws attention toward the waist and hips, not the arms. If the sleeve has a soft taper or flutter at the end, even better, it introduces movement, which always reads more youthful than stiffness. Color matters. Wearing monochromatic tones on top, such as blush pink or dove gray, helps the arm area recede gently into the outfit. Avoid high-contrast sleeve hems, like a bright cuff on a pale sleeve, which can act like a highlighter under the arm. In general, cooler undertones and matte fabrics are more forgiving on aging skin than shiny, high-sheen materials. Layering is your secret weapon. A lightweight, semi-sheer kimono or long-line cardigan worn over a sleeveless top allows you to enjoy the structure of a sleeveless piece while still softening the look of your arms. It adds depth, texture, and motion, all without heat or heaviness. Accessories can also shift focus. Delicate statement earrings, soft scarves worn loosely around the shoulders, or a long pendant necklace all help pull the eye upward toward your face, not your upper arms. For example, A woman in her 60s wearing a sleeveless blouse with a linen wrap, gold hoop earrings, and a silk scarf tied at the collarbone creates a completely different impression than the same woman in a sleeveless blouse alone. One feels intentional, layered, and elevated, the other unfinished, and don't forget posture. Clothes only go so far. The way you carry yourself, shoulders back, chin lifted, wrists relaxed, affects how your arms are perceived more than the sleeve alone. A confident stance can make the softest arm feel graceful. Lastly, avoid anything too tight or too busy near the arm area. Bold patterns, chunky shoulder seams, or tight cuffs can overwhelm the space. Let your sleeves breathe. Let the fabric speak for you, because elegance isn't in what you cover. It's in how you compose the whole picture. There comes a moment for every woman, usually somewhere in her 60s, when she catches her reflection and sees a version of herself she didn't expect. Not just the softened jawline or the silver hair, but the arms, thinner in places, fuller in others, with skin that moves differently than it used to. And for many, that moment quietly shifts something. Suddenly, sleeveless dresses feel like a risk. Summer tops stay in the closet. You find yourself reaching for cardigans even when it's 80 degrees outside, not because you're cold, but because you're guarding something. But what if that guard could come down? What if, instead of asking, "How do I hide my arms?" we asked, "How do I dress them with intention?" Because your arms, your beautiful, experienced, expressive arms, have done more than just age. They've held babies, stirred soup, written letters, hugged family, carried groceries, lifted boxes, wiped tears, painted, waved hello, and sometimes even waved goodbye. They tell your story. The goal isn't to erase that story. It's to style it with grace. Once you shift your mindset from concealment to celebration, everything changes. You stop buying sleeves out of fear and start choosing fabrics that feel like an extension of who you are. You stop worrying about what others might see and start noticing how you feel, lighter, looser, more at ease. That's the moment you reclaim your elegance. Because elegance isn't about hiding flaws, it's about showing up anyway. It's about choosing beauty, even when the world tells you to shrink. And when you wear the right sleeve, not to cover, but to honor, you're not just dressing your arms, you're dressing your courage. So now you know it's not your arms, it's the sleeves. The wrong ones can shrink your confidence, age your silhouette, and make you want to disappear under layers you don't even like. But the right sleeves, they move with you. They flatter. They listen to your body instead of fighting it. And most importantly, they allow you to show up fully as the woman you are today, not the one you used to be. Because elegance isn't about erasing time. It's about choosing beauty on your own terms. If this video gave you a fresh perspective or reminded you that yes, you can still wear what you love, go ahead and hit that like button. Share it with a friend who deserves to feel beautiful in her own skin. And don't forget to subscribe to Healthwise for seniors. We have so many more style, confidence, and lifestyle tips coming your way, all designed with you in mind. And before you go, leave us a comment. Backhand index pointing, write what's one sleeve